It's a pleasure to share my own experience of embedding generative AI in one of my units. It's an ongoing process. I've just had actually a session between 10 and 11 with them about AI. And so I'm going to go through some of the issues that I've been facing. And these are 5 issues. The categories of AI usage, why is AI suitable for this particular case, because it may not be for all cases, issues to consider, prompting, and then some of the psychological barriers that I've been finding on the part of the students. So just a tiny bit of context. We know that we can use AI or not use AI in different ways. In category 1, it means that it can't be used at all. In category 2, it can be used but for selected tasks. And in category 3, students can use it for whatever purposes they see fit with regards to their assignment. And in this case, it's all in. It's category 3. Students have no restrictions, and I'll explain in a minute why I can set the standard at that level. So it's part of the assignment. It has been encouraged throughout. There have been many conversations about AI, including this morning's conversation, and the plan is for them to get familiar with using generative AI tools, mainly ChatGPT-like tools, so written text. There's not a very strong visual component. They can bring it, but it's not essential. And so the assessment will provide an opportunity for them to demonstrate their growth in the use of generative AI. So there are different ways students can use AI in this particular assignment. They can use it as an engine, as a Socratic opponent, so contrasting views. They can use it as a collaboration coach. So they have to solve problems, and I'll explain the nature of the assignment in a minute. And they can also use it as an assessor. If they have developed something, they can then use AI, mark my idea, my past analysis, and provide recommendations for future improvement. This is not mine, okay? Don't get too excited. I'm not clever enough. I actually can provide the reference where I took it from. So why is AI suitable for this particular assignment? Because it's a complex assignment that is made up of a lot of parts. So they have to come up with a new event concept for the local business. So we are working with 2 local businesses. So they have a very specific context to work with. And they have to go through the diagnostic stage, where they have to carry out a pest and a SWOT analysis for the business. They have to do a product portfolio analysis as well, including an event portfolio analysis. Once they finish the diagnosis, they then have to develop the parameters, so growth strategy through the Ansoff matrix, and something that we call essential criteria. So this is kind of the broad vision for the new concept based on all the research that they have done. Once they do that, they also need to select the target market, because in marketing we develop products for specific groups of consumers. Once they've developed the parameters, they are then ready to start developing the idea and evaluating the idea. So they generate ideas and they screen those ideas, and then the process is interactive, because first ideas are never good final ideas. And finally, they have the new product, the new event, and they have to develop the business case that they are going to present in front of the manager. So just think about, and all people here, I assume, have interacted with generative AI. Just think about trying to use generative AI to complete this task. It's impossible just completing it with generative AI only, because there's so many tasks to start with, and the integration and the coordination between all of them is so intense, and there's so many interactive moments where they have to go back and they have to bring in more bits of information, discard others, They can't simply go there in half an hour, write a prompt, and they get something. It doesn't work like that. So I saw it fitting to allow them to explore generative AI for any of these tasks because there was no risk of facilitating their life and then doing it the lazy way with a bit of trying, and they can come up with something. So that was an important element. There are other assignments that I would probably be a bit more cautious. I would be a lot more cautious to go all in terms of AI, but not this one. The issues that I found so far, and this has been an interesting journey, that when you try something new, and I've learned a little bit from Elvira. We had a podcast which is published, a video podcast which is published in my channel with my name, not the Dissertation Academy, the Miguel Moital channel. When you try something new, there's always a lot of learning for yourself, and I've had to deal with some issues that I wouldn't be able to anticipate. The first one that I had to consider, and that was touched earlier, is how to integrate it, because we already have a lot of content to cover, and now we have another skill to top up. So we need to find time to add the development of the skill. And we need to find time to assess, because if it's part of the unit, you have to assess the skill. But here at Bournemouth University, you've got 3,000 words and maximum of 2 assignments to assess a student. So how do you kind of bring something in that is a major part without affecting all the other important things about the actual content of the unit, creativity and innovation? It is a challenge. I've managed to do it. I managed to save some time to go through AI now almost every week. And I actually turned the second assignment, which was traditionally a reflection, into a reflection about using AI specifically. So I could kind of embed the generative AI issues both in the curriculum and in the assessment. The second one is the access and selection of AI tools, because there's so many now, it's just crazy. If you follow some people on Twitter who are picking up all those messages, some days when they issue their newsletter is bonkers. It's dozens of AI tools in a day. The newsletters are not weekly or monthly, it's daily newsletters, and every day they have new AI tools to share with their audience. So there's lots of AI tools. A lot of them are good, others are not so good. Some are flexible, you can use them for many things, others do very specific tasks. Some are free, some are paid. So there's lots of things to consider. We've gone simple. We are using ChatGPT 3.5 as a basis because everyone can use, so equity issues are reduced. Obviously, if they pay for more advanced versions, maybe they are at an advantage, but it's impossible to forbid them from using more advanced versions. I think the more important thing is to make sure that everyone can access a reasonable tool, and ChatGPT 3.5 provides that reasonable access. The other discussions that we've had is use cases and limitations. So what tools are better for each of those tasks that you've seen, PEST, SWOT, etc. Let me give you an example. We discussed using generative AI for PEST. Generative AI is rarely updated, and PEST is about what's happening now, yeah, or has happened in the recent past, or is likely to happen in the future. So it's not good to generate content when you are designing the PEST. You need to use other sources, such as the common browser, to try to capture that information that could be relevant for the business. But you can use it to evaluate your PEST in terms of style, in terms of completeness, to help you reorganize the ideas, communicate them better. So there are, when it comes to PEST, it's good for certain tasks, but it's not fit for purpose for other tasks. So we had these discussions already in our class. So there are cases where you can use it, and there are limitations where it's not advisable to to use. The other one is skills development, and the background was one of very, very low skills, probably, I think, around the third. I've got that in a video, but I don't remember the actual percentages, but it was like a third had never used it, and then half had used it a little bit, basics, and there were 10 or 15% who had used it in a more serious way, but the background, the baseline wasn't very strong to start with. So there's a really strong emphasis on developing skills, and part of that involves doing some exercises with them in class now. And I'll tell you why now, because I realized that it won't work if you just encourage them to do it on their own time. You think they are excited about it, they'll go for it. No, they've been quite passive, actually. It was a surprise, because as tutors we assume that they are so excited about these new technologies, and no, that didn't happen. They are starting to get more excited about it now. The other issue in terms of developing skills is to sign up to newsletters. That's where I learn most of the information from. So yesterday I was recommending HeyGen as a platform. I learned it from someone I follow on Twitter who issues a daily newsletter. Another one, I was talking to one of the speakers yesterday. It's u.com. It was with you, yeah? u.com. And actually for academia, it's cheaper. They have a special price for academia and does lots of things, yeah? And does both text and image. And it seems to have, from the page, it seems to have actually access to different platforms, DALL-E, ChatGPT, and so on. So it's kind of one-stop shop. I haven't researched enough yet to know how it works, but I learn about all these things. I develop my skills and knowledge through other people. I don't have the time to do that work myself. So I'm encouraging students to subscribe to some of those people, and every day spend 5-10 minutes, which is what I spend. Just, is there anything interesting? If there's an app about writing CVs, I'll pass it. It's not something that interests me. But if something about business and coming up with ideas, and then I'll have a more detailed look. The other element, which is vital, essentially, is prompting. So we've spent a lot of time working and talking about prompting. This morning session was about prompting. We started with a simple prompt, and then we started analyzing the result and what can we add, and the iterative element of prompting, where you need to interpret what you've got in relation to what you've asked and improve the prompting to take you closer to what you're trying to get out of the AI system. So we've spent a lot of time on prompting, which means I can focus a little bit more on prompting issues. We've talked a lot about the quality of the prompt, not only in general, but also in relation to this particular assignment. So we talked about giving it a role, what is the task, what is the purpose, what's the venue, so because you're organizing an event for a venue, and any constraints that could exist, the contextualization, the theory element is really important. So when it comes to creativity, what creativity theory can you bring in to help you refine and come up with a more clear prompt, rather than give me ideas about this? No, give me ideas playing with this assumption using this creativity technique, which is things that they've learned in class. Obviously, experimentation in interaction, which I've mentioned, so it's important to have different goals and try different things and respond to what you see. Structured prompts, which are prompts where you don't ask everything in one go, you relay the information as you go, and you ask the system to update. So instead of going all in because the system loses part of the information, you kind of go step by step. And also the issue of motivation to use, which is the next element. So Motivation to use, as I said, it has been a challenge. I've been putting a lot of pressure, but they seem a bit passive, even though it seems to be picking up now. They fear, and I had to work on that, committing academic offenses, because everyone else, virtually every other tutor, is telling them that it is an academic offense. So I've had to work on that and calm them down and say, even if you do a little mistake, I'm not going to punish you, because we are all learning here. So you can feel safe that you're not going to be caught with misusing it. And also the fear of dependence. Once you use it and you know that it's good for you and it helps, you struggle to go back and do it manually, as I call it. So these are some of the issues that I've been dealing with. 20 seconds just to highlight that I'm actually reporting on this experience on my YouTube channel, Miguel Moital, on YouTube. And there are 3 videos there already. There's one should be there. It's being edited, should be there maybe by the end of the week. There's another one ready to record. So whenever I've got something interesting, a development, I create another video, also with the help of AI, and I'll release it. So if you want to stay up with what's happening, feel free to go to my YouTube channel.